At dinner, the heartwarming truth about the Japanese millionaire was revealed by one amazing girl. The scent of homemade meatloaf hung in the air, wrapping around Mia like a warm hug. It was just another typical afternoon in their small suburban home. With her mother's laughter ringing from the diner down the street, Mia felt a mix of love and anticipation. Her mother worked tirelessly as a waitress, pouring her heart into every cup of coffee she served, teaching Mia the real essence of hard work and compassion. Everyone in town whispered about Mr. Fujimoto, the strange millionaire who frequented the diner for apple pie, and Mia had always found it absurd that he could find solace in such a modest place, but as she wiped down the counter beside her mother, she spotted him. Mr. Fujimoto sat alone, his head slightly bowed, a distant look in his eyes. Something inside Mia stirred. She heard the whispers. How could someone so wealthy choose a little diner over fancy restaurants? As if drawn by an invisible string, she approached him with her bold little heart pounding in her chest. "Hi, Mr. Fujimoto. Why do you like our apple pie so much?" she asked, her curiosity bubbling over. His eyes brightened, a smile creeping across his face, and for the first time, she didn't see the businessman, she saw a man with stories. "I remember my childhood," he replied, his voice steady yet soft. "In Japan, my mother made it every Sunday. It was her way of sharing love. Your pie is the only thing that brings me back to those moments." A shared understanding sparked between them, igniting a friendship no one saw coming. Day by day, their bond deepened. Mia learned about Mr. Fujimoto's journey, his struggles, dreams, and desire to make a difference. She began to see him as family instead of a figure cloaked in community disdain. The more time they spent together, the more Mia realized riches were not always about money but about character and compassion. Yet outside the diner, the tension grew. Threats loomed over the diner as corporate developers plotted to tear down their neighborhood, dismantling everything her mother and neighbors had worked for. Whispers of job losses filled the air, knitting fear into the fabric of the community. Mia felt the weight of her ties pulling her in two directions: her friends, her community, versus a man who had become a father figure to her. As the day of the fundraiser approached, Mia decided she'd do something daring. With the diner abuzz with the smells of comfort food, she stood tall and invited Mr. Fujimoto to share his story. She believed he could bridge the gap between them and spark compassion in hearts hardened by prejudice. When he grabbed the microphone, everything shifted. His story danced around the room. Mia held her breath as each word dripped with sincerity. The townsfolk began to connect the dots. But just as the understanding started blooming, an uninvited voice broke through the warmth. "What does he know about us? He's just a rich outsider." The taunt echoed, threatening to tear apart the fragile bridge Mia had worked so hard to build. The air thickened, tension rising like the yeast in her mother's bread. Amid the storm, Mia stood strong, heart racing, becoming a beacon of hope in a world that seemed unable to break its chains of judgment. Would the townsfolk see the truth in Mr. Fujimoto's story, or let their outdated biases pull them back? The question hung heavy in the air, waiting for an answer. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as silence filled the diner, heavy and suffocating. She could see the faces in the crowd shift, doubts and frowns replacing the earlier softening. Mr. Fujimoto's gaze hardened momentarily, but he quickly turned it back to the crowd, determination flickering in his eyes. With a quick glance to Mia, the millionaire adjusted his tie, an ordinary gesture that sent a jolt through her. She wished she could wrap her words around him like a shield. But he didn't back down. "It's true," he said, his voice ringing out clearly above the clatter of plates and murmurs. "I am an outsider, but in a way, we all are. Life moves us away from home, and sometimes, it brings us to places we least expect." Mia felt a rush of relief mixed with anxiety. She was losing them, the very people she tried so hard to unite. She stepped forward. "But what about the things we share?" she called out, her voice trembling yet firm. "We love the same. We dream the same. Mr. Fujimoto is not just a rich man, he's someone who believes in us." Her eyes swept through the crowd, finding familiar faces, their frowns, their confusion. He's here because he wants to help us save our diner. He's here because he cares. Murmurs rippled through the diner, some heads nodding, others shaking. An older woman in the back crossed her arms defiantly. How do we even know he's sincere? She challenged, her tone sharp. He could just be playing us. Believe me, Mr. Fujimoto interjected gently, I've experienced loss, too. His voice softened, carrying a weight that captivated the audience. I've lost the places that made me who I am. My family's business was taken from us. I understand how much these buildings, these gatherings, mean to you. As he continued, Mia watched the pieces fall into place. The way his hands gestured, the way his words painted pictures of his past, she felt tethered to them all, weaving stories of hope, pain, and resilience. It wasn't just about being rich or poor, it was about the heart. The tension in the diner began to ease, a slow uncoiling like a spring freed from its tight clasp. But just as she thought they might finally turn, a man in the back stood up, a sneer replacing his earlier uncertainty. He's still just a rich man trying to buy us out. This is about our home, our people. The once thoughtful crowd roiled with anger. Mia's heart sank. Then let us change the narrative. She cried. She felt small, yet the fire inside her built. What if we actually listened? Maybe, just maybe, we could work together. We could find a way to save our diner without tearing each other apart. By putting our trust in him? The man scoffed, arms crossed defiantly. By putting our trust in ourselves. In each other. Mia's voice cracked from the effort but held firm, the collective energy of determination growing in the room. Voices began to bubble up, some in agreement, others still skeptical. But the seed of doubt planted by the man had shaken the fragile peace Mia had been crafting. Just as she thought she was making headway, she realized the real fight lay ahead. The clock ticked loudly, a reminder that time was short before the developers arrived. Would she have the courage to stand up against her own people? As the discussions escalated, she caught Mr. Fujimoto's gaze, where compassion and understanding glimmered. Mia felt a surge of resolve. She wasn't just fighting for the diner anymore. She was fighting for a future, for all of them to stand together. I believe in us. She shouted, desperation threading through her words. And as the diner echoed with mixed emotions and murmurs, she knew her journey was only beginning. What would happen next could change everything. Would her community ultimately come together to save their home, or would division win? Mia took a deep breath, grounding herself as she faced the room full of people. Their eyes, flickering between curiosity and skepticism, felt like a weight. She could feel the energy shift, a palpable tension hanging in the air. The man who had challenged Mr. Fujimoto still stood at the back, glaring defiantly, but Mia refused to let fear take hold. Maybe it's time we shared our stories, she suggested, her voice steadying with determination. To remember what this diner means to each of us. Each laugh, every late-night coffee, the tears we've shared, they're all a part of us. The murmurs grew louder again, but instead of pushing her away, they began to draw attention. One by one, familiar faces started to turn towards her, a spark of recognition lighting up their eyes. The older woman from the back slowly unfolded her arms, interest peaked. Let us not forget why this place has been home, Mia continued, emboldened. Our own history is rich, filled with moments that define us. Mr. Fujimoto might be new, but he wants to be part of this too. As if on cue, Mr. Fujimoto stepped closer to Mia, his presence radiating support. I believe that every great vision comes from a place of community, he added, gauging the crowd's reactions. If you allow me to invest, it won't be just me or my money. It'll be our combined effort to make this place thrive. I want to learn your stories. A voice broke through the crowd, a young man who often worked late shifts. I've lived off these greasy burgers since I was a kid. My grandma brought me here. You're right, Mia, this diner is heart. And then, like a wave, stories began pouring forth. Someone spoke about the romance that blossomed over fries, another recalled the night they banded together after a serious storm to help clean up. Laughter, warmth, and shared memories weaved through the air, knitting them closer together. Even the older woman spoke up, her voice softer now. I remember when we saved this diner from its last owner. It's part of our identity. It's not just a building. She paused, emotion thick in her voice. It's my husband sitting at that booth with my son. It's us, together. Mia felt her heart swell, her own struggles given light through their collective memories. They were rooted here, woven together in shared laughter and dreams. A sense of possibility took hold, filling the diner like the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, rich and inviting. Suddenly, the man who had risen to challenge Mr. Fujimoto called out again, but this time his voice was steadier. So, what do we do? If you really mean it, what comes next? Next, Mia replied, smiling with fierce hope, we form a committee, each voice aloud, to share our thoughts on what we want for our diner. Let us start today. Let us decide together what this place can become. The room buzzed with energy, heads nodding in agreement, conversations overlapping in an excited crescendo. Mia felt a tear escape, but it was a tear of joy. This was the beginning of something monumental. She looked at Mr. Fujimoto, whose eyes shone with pride. But as the crowd settled and discussions began, Mia was aware that the path ahead would not be easy. She had gained some support, but not all doubts had been quashed. Fear rippled just beneath the surface, ready to break apart this fragile unity. Will we stay united when the real challenges come? Mia asked herself quietly, glancing at the clock. They were racing against time, against forces that wished to pull them apart. Just as she thought they could carry on, a loud crash interrupted the moment, a glass shattering on the floor. Silence blanketed the crowd as all eyes turned to the entrance. A figure stood there, face shadowed but unmistakably familiar. It seems we've got company. Mia's heart sank. What was it now? Could this be the force threatening their unity? She braced herself for what was about to unfold. Every eye in the diner waited, the next chapter hanging on the precipice. The figure stepped into the diner, and Mia squinted to recognize who it was. Her heart raced as the familiar face emerged from the shadows. It was Jesse, the diner's former cook, who had left under mysterious circumstances months before. He looked different, his clothes rumpled and his eyes wide with something like desperation. Mia! He called out, his voice breaking through the thick silence. The energy in the room shifted again, a wave of unease washing over them like cold water. I need to talk to you. A murmur swept through the crowd. Some looked at Mia, eyebrows raised, while others just stared at Jesse, confusion painted on their faces. Mia's mind raced. What could he possibly want now? Jesse, this isn't the time, Mia said, feeling tension coil in her stomach. She had just begun to weave their stories together, to build this fragile alliance, and now it felt precariously tilted. No. Jesse stepped closer, hands raised in a gesture of peace. You don't understand. There's something you need to know. Something about Mr. Fujimoto. The name hung in the air like a thick fog. Everyone turned toward Mr. Fujimoto, who stood by Mia's side, his expression unreadable. Mia could see that beneath the surface of calmness, he was as tense as she felt. What about him? She challenged, anxiety creeping into her voice. Jesse glanced around, as if gauging the crowd's reaction, then lowered his voice. When I worked here, there were rumors. About who he really is. You all think he is just this millionaire trying to save the diner, but he hesitated, catching his breath, as if every word came with an effort. Mia felt every pair of eyes in the diner weighty on her now. Some were curious, others were skeptical. Jesse had left abruptly, swallowed by whispered gossip and unanswered questions. Here he was, back again, stirring the pot when they were on the brink of unity. "Who is he?" someone shouted from the back, breaking the tension. "He's south in the real estate business," Jesse continued, his voice intensifying. "And word is, he wants this diner gone. He plans to buy up the land and turn it into something else. This isn't just about making a diner great again. It's bigger than that." Gasps erupted, disbelief coloring faces. Mr. Fujimoto straightened, his gaze sharp, but Mia could see momentary flickers of fear dance across his features. She felt her heart beat loudly, a rhythm of uncertainty. "No!" Mia shouted, desperation edging her voice. "That can't be true. He wants this diner to thrive." But even as she said it, doubts trickled in. Had they misread his intentions? Mr. Fujimoto stepped forward, his hands clasped tightly. "This may sound difficult to believe, but I want nothing more than to be part of this community. I don't need to buy the land for profit." His voice was steady, but a shadow of anxiety crossed his face at Jesse's accusations. "Are you sure?" Jesse pressed, eyes blazing. "You don't know the people who prep these deals. They'll throw you under the bus like it's nothing if it benefits them." The room fell silent again, as if even the clock held its breath. Mia felt alarm bells ringing in her head, a churning storm of possibilities. Were they really risking everything? "Is this why you really came back, Jesse?" Mia asked, her voice soft but firm. "To tear us apart again?" "I came to warn you," he insisted, desperation creeping into his tone. "You have to trust me." Mia's heart raced, swirling with confusion. The fragile unity they had just built felt like it was splintering into pieces. "Can we survive this?" she whispered to herself, as eyes filled with uncertainty stared back at her, all waiting for her next move. With the weight of doubt heavy in the air, Mia swallowed hard, bracing herself. The fragility of their new bond echoed around her. What if this wasn't just a challenge to their unity? What if it was the beginning of something even bigger? As silence thickened once again, Mia knew that the coming days would test everything she believed in, and the truth about Mr. Fujimoto had yet to be fully revealed. Mia stood frozen, caught in the crossfire of conflicting emotions swirling around her. Jesse's return felt like a storm breaking in the middle of a fragile summer day, dark clouds threatening to erase the light they'd just begun to bask in. She could sense Mr. Fujimoto's eyes boring into Jesse, but the tension between them was palpable, like a taut string ready to snap. "Mia, please," Jesse implored, his voice low, but she could hear the urgency behind every word. "You have to believe me. I wouldn't be here if it didn't matter. Why should I trust you?" She shot back, hurt rising in her throat. "You left without a word. I didn't have a choice." Jesse exploded, the frustration spilling out. "You think I wanted to go? I was scared of what they'd do to me if I said anything." The diner patrons exchanged nervous glances, torn between old loyalties and new suspicions. Some leaned in closer, clearly invested in the unfolding drama, while others recoiled, unsure of what to believe. Mia's heart raced. She could feel the momentum flipping, and she had to reclaim it. "Enough," she finally said, her voice cutting through the murmurs like a knife. "Let us all take a breath. We can't solve anything with accusations flying around." "Then what do we do?" someone called out from the back, and Mia turned, seeing the concern etched on their faces. They looked to her for answers, unity hanging by a thread. "Let us start with facts," Mia suggested, knowing how important it was to ground the situation with clarity. "Jesse, tell us everything you know about Mr. Fujimoto. Leave nothing out." Jesse took a deep breath, his shoulders sagging, as if relieved to be given the floor. "Okay, I overheard things when I worked here. Little comments from people who knew him from the real estate circles. They were interested in this diner's location way before he even offered to buy it. They want to build condos or something. Mia could see the frown creeping onto Mr. Fujimoto's face, his calm demeanor cracking slightly. "Is that why you've been so insistent about the diner's renovation?" Jessie pressed. "Because you secretly want to flip it and sell it off at a profit?" "No." Fujimoto held his ground, but the firmness in his voice wavered. "I want to restore this place because I believe in its history. I believe in this community. What Jessie is saying is not how it is." The crowd simmered. Whispers filled the diner, the tension thickening even further. Mia felt sweat prickle on her brow. She had to intervene before the potential for reconciliation disintegrated into chaos. "Mr. Fujimoto offers us hope," Mia said, her voice rising above the noise. "He's investing in us, in this diner, when others wouldn't even bother. But we can't ignore what Jessie is saying either. We need to find the truth together." Just as the atmosphere began to settle, a loud crash from the back of the diner drew everyone's attention. A table had tipped over, knocking over a stack of plates. A grizzled old man stood glaring at Jessie, his fists clenched in outrage. "Enough of this," he bellowed. "You're going to ruin this place with your lies." Mia felt her heart plunge. For years, this diner was their refuge. A place of laughter, sadness, and memories shared. Would they really let rumors and fists of anger tear them apart? "Wait!" Mia shouted, moving toward the man. "This is exactly what they want. We're stronger together, but we can't fight each other." "Stronger how?" he challenged, bitterness spilling into his voice. "By trusting people who may not have our best interests at heart?" "Trust can be earned," she said, holding his gaze. "But we have to be willing to listen, to understand." The old man's scowl softened just a little. She could see the flicker of recognition in his eyes, a hint of hope. Would that moment be enough to change the tide? "Mia, I just wanted to protect you," Jessie's voice quivered as he finally spoke, that desperation creeping back in. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Her brows knotted, anger and compassion battling inside her. "Protecting us with the truth is what we need right now. We need a plan and to face whatever is coming together." But would that be enough to unite them when the storm was looming? As hearts raced and trust wavered, Mia understood this was just the beginning of a much bigger fight for their diner and for their community. How well would they handle this test? Mia braced herself as the stakes heightened, knowing that the truth about Mr. Fujimoto was still waiting to unravel, and perhaps the answers lay in places they didn't dare to look. The murmurs in the diner seemed to oscillate between threats and understanding, with every patron weighing their loyalty against the echoes of past experiences. Mia stood at the center, a pillar of raw determination amid the storm whirling around her. She could feel the weight of the old man's gaze piercing through her, still simmering with skepticism. "Let us hear Jessie out, then," Mia said, her voice a bit more vigorous. The room quieted slightly, but the tension clung stubbornly, like the scent of fried food mingling with urgent voices. She turned to Jessie. "What else do you know?" Jessie's hands trembled as he clicked through memories. "I didn't just overhear gossip. I saw how they got excited when rumors spread about the diner's profit margins. They wanted to make a move, to take something that was part of our lives and turn it into high-priced real estate." Mr. Fujimoto, now shifting uncomfortably, took a deep breath. "Yes, there has been interest in the land. But I'm here to rejuvenate what has been forgotten. This diner means something not just to me, but to everyone." Mia felt her heart tug at the hint of fight sparkling in Fujimoto's eyes. "This diner is in the heart of everything we are," she echoed, thinking of the laughter, the tears, the birthdays celebrated at each worn stool. "But what are we willing to do to protect it?" The weight of Mia's words hung heavily, and she could sense the shifting tides around her. The community was torn between believing Jessie's warnings and embracing Fujimoto's vision. "Let us put it to a vote," a woman suggested, her brow furrowed but her expression earnest. Mia could see groups nodding, voices whispering in support and apprehension. What are we voting on? The old man snapped, his anger still simmering. Are we trusting a snake or a man wearing a shiny suit? We're voting on whether to unite and find out the truth before we throw each other to the wolves, Mia said, her voice calm but fierce, rallying her allies. We can be cautious without tearing ourselves apart. Several heads nodded, and a low murmur of agreement began to weave through the diner. Jesse's wide eyes reflected a glimmer of hope, while Mr. Fujimoto's brow furrowed in disbelief. It's a start, Mia declared. We'll start a committee to investigate. We'll gather evidence and talk to anyone associated with the plans. Trust has to be built, and we have to do it together. An elderly woman raised her hand. I used to bring my kids here. They loved the pancakes. If it means saving our diner, I'll help. Mia's heart warmed at the solidarity blooming in the room. Let us stay vigilant, Jesse added, his deep voice stronger now. If we work together, we won't have to fight each other. The atmosphere was still thick with urgency, yet a flicker of unity danced in the room. They weren't alone in this. Each person here shared a bond stitched together through years of shared experiences. Let us meet tomorrow to discuss more. We can find a way to save the diner, Mia said, a thread of optimism threading through her voice. The crowd seemed to split, half relieved, half anxious, searching for a path through the uncertainty. As she looked around at the sea of faces, some still skeptical, others ready to stand with her, Mia felt a swell of determination rise within her. This definitely wasn't the end, it was only the beginning of something larger. What if we're too late? Jesse murmured, just loud enough for her to hear, doubt slipping into his voice again. Mia's expression hardened with resolve. We can't think like that. We'll gather the facts, and we'll act before it's too late. We owe it to this place. But deep inside, a gnawing fear stalked her thoughts. What if the truth they uncovered shattered everything they believed in? As night enveloped the diner, leaving it dimly lit and almost cozy, the conversations continued, but the unsettling feeling of an impending storm hung in the air. What awaited them in the shadows of this investigation? What secrets lay beneath the surface, things they'd never dared to consider? And Mia knew that tomorrow's revelations might be the most dangerous of all. The next morning, sunlight streamed through dusty windows, casting warm patches on the worn floor of the diner. Mia arrived early, the bell above the door jingling as she stepped inside. The kitchen still held the faint aroma of coffee, and a plate of uneaten blueberry pancakes sat forlornly on a counter, remnants of last night's crowd. Jesse was already there, nursing a cup of coffee. His brow was creased with worry, and he glanced up as Mia approached. "Did you sleep?" he asked. "Not really." The truth hung heavy in her voice. "But I'm ready to figure this out." She took a seat across from him, a determination building in her chest. As patrons began to trickle in, the atmosphere of worry was palpable. Some faces were familiar, yet many were filled with uncertainty and unease. Mia could feel the weight of their stares, the judgment layered with hope and fear. She needed to rally them, to show them they could fight for their beloved diner. More people gathered as the minutes passed. Mia stood, drawing the room's attention. "Thank you all for coming." Her voice wavered at first, but she steadied it. "Yesterday was just a start. Let us talk about how we can protect what's ours." Mr. Fujimoto entered, a slight frown pulling at the corners of his mouth. He looked out of place in his tailored suit against the backdrop of flip-flopped, casual diners. "I want to help." His voice was unexpectedly strong, cutting through the murmurs. "This diner deserves respect. It's part of this community." The old man from the night before scoffed, shaking his head. "Your idea of helping means taking what's ours, doesn't it?" "No," Fujimoto replied firmly, almost pleading. "I see potential in this place. It can be better without losing its heart." "Better for who?" Jesse's voice was a tight coil of tension. "For some rich people who don't care about us." The air crackled with discontent. Mia felt the room tilt dangerously close to chaos. "Everyone, please," she interjected, desperation creeping into her tone. "This isn't about sides. We have a chance to find out the truth about those plans. But we can't do it divided." A small voice piped up from the back. "What if we reached out to the community? Maybe we can gather signatures against the plans if they're real." Mia's heart lifted at the suggestion. "That's a great idea. If we can document support, we can show strength." As they began brainstorming ideas, the clinking of silverware and hushed whispers filled the diner. Each suggestion fueled her excitement. They could unify this fractured community. It would take hard work, but they were willing to fight. The elderly woman who had pledged her support the night before stood up. "I remember this diner being a safe space. Let us make it that again. I can help organize a meeting to gather signatures." Cheers erupted throughout the diner, filling Mia with a warmth she had missed. It felt like they were reclaiming not just the physical space of the diner, but also their memories connected to it. But amid the excitement, Mia's gaze caught sight of Jesse, who remained silent, the doubts flickering in his eyes. She could sense his internal struggle. Did he really believe they could do this? "Jesse," she said softly, drawing him into the conversation. "What about you? Will you help us?" He hesitated, his hands tightening around his cup. I just don't want to hope for something that might not happen. What if we fail?" "Then we know we tried our best," Mia replied, her voice steady but filled with emotion. At that moment, she realized it would not just be bricks and mortar they were fighting for, it was their spirit, their memories, their lives woven through this diner. And as the final voices echoed in determination, Mia felt the ground shifting beneath them all. But would they be able to face the hidden truths about Fujimoto and those who might conspire to take their diner away? Mia knew the battle was only beginning, and the real fight loomed just ahead. The clamor in the diner swelled, the energy crackling like static in the air. Mia took a deep breath, grounding herself. They were a family here, a community standing on the brink of something important, and she could feel it in every fiber of her being. It was now or never. "Okay, everyone," she called out, raising her voice above the chatter. "Let us organize ourselves. We need to form a committee to gather those signatures. I'll handle the outreach if you can help me with the logistics." Nods and murmurs of agreement echoed around her. Jesse shifted in his seat, his brows knitting together. The skepticism was still there, but Mia could see a flicker of something else, maybe hope. The elderly woman, Mrs. Caldwell, spoke up again. "And I can talk to my neighbors. They remember how much this place means to all of us." She clutched her purse tightly, her determined spirit infectious. With each idea shared, Mia felt the weight lifting, replaced by a sense of purpose. They spent the morning jotting down names, deciding on locations for their meetings, and brainstorming catchy slogans for their campaign. Laughter replaced tension as they chipped away at the fear that had settled in their hearts, but just as optimism began to fill the room, there was a sudden shift. The bell over the door jingled again, this time announcing the arrival of a tall figure. It was a man Mia had never seen before, with a confident stride and an air that commanded attention. He had a camera slung around his neck, and his eyes scanned the diner with keen interest. "Excuse me," he interrupted, stepping toward the group. "I'm a reporter. I heard about your meeting and wanted to cover your story. People need to know what's happening here." The room fell silent, tension returning like a shadow sliding over their sunlight. "Why do you care?" Jesse's voice was jagged, as he crossed his arms defensively. "Because places like this diner," the reporter replied, "they're disappearing all across the country. It's vital to share your struggle. The community deserves to know it can fight back." Mia saw the flicker of interest ignite in the others. Empowerment was a contagious feeling, and she was grateful for the reminder. "We need to tell our story," she said, stepping forward. "Not about just losing a diner, but how it's part of our lives and stories, our memories. It's a fight for what we believe in. The reporter nodded, his camera ready. Let us talk then. Share your story. I want to capture what the diner means to you all. As voices rose in excited chatter, Mia felt a warmth rush through her. This was the moment they had needed, an opportunity to reach beyond their diner's walls and stir hearts in their wider community. They could draw in support, not just from family and friends, but from strangers who shared their love for small-town resilience. But amid the hopeful energy, a nagging doubt resurfaced in Mia's mind: could they really face corporate greed and bureaucracy? Would this campaign be enough to protect their cherished diner? Gather the stories, she reminded everyone. We need the sentimental, the emotional, everything that makes this place what it is. As they started pulling together their memories, Mia caught Jesse's eye. He had a thoughtful expression, and for a moment, she felt that maybe he wasn't as distant as he had been. But would he join her fully in this fight, or would his fears hold him back? Just as Mia was about to ask, the bell rang again, cutting through the moment. A tall, suited figure appeared, and Mia's heart sank. She recognized Mr. Fujimoto. The tension shifted immediately in the room. Can I speak to you all? His voice was steady, but the undertone carried weight. Mia knew that what he had to say could change everything, but would it bring them clarity or more questions? As all heads turned toward him, she held her breath, wondering if this was the moment that would shift the battle in their favor or threaten to expose them to a deeper struggle. Mr. Fujimoto stepped forward, his sharp suit contrasting sharply with the diner's casual decor. Mia's heart raced as she sensed the weight of the moment. She could see the flicker of unease dance across the faces of her friends. Thank you for allowing me to speak. His eyes moved around the diner, acknowledgement resting on each person, lingering perhaps a moment longer on Mia. I know this diner is special to all of you. It holds memories that are irreplaceable. A murmur of agreement crossed the room. Mia felt a rush of warmth, the sense that they were united in their fight. But there was an edge to the moment, a suspense that stretched like a rubber band, ready to snap. I came here today for a reason, Mr. Fujimoto continued, his voice calm yet firm. I believe in your cause. I believe this diner deserves to remain standing. However, the decision doesn't lie solely with me. Questions buzzed through Mia's mind. Did he have the power to help? Or was he merely tying them to a hope that could lead to disappointment? You see, there's been a lot of misinformation about the takeover of this property. He paused, letting the words sink in. The reality is the developers who want to tear this place down don't have the community's best interest at heart. It's about profit for them, and nothing else. But I want to change that narrative. Everyone leaned in closer, the air thick with anticipation. Mia exchanged glances with Jesse, who still wore skepticism like an armor against the unknown. I can help you gather support. I have connections that would amplify your story, help get those signatures, but he hesitated, his gaze sweeping over the diner's crowd. I need to ensure your commitment first. Commitment? Jesse's voice shot out, challenging. What does that even mean? People have been losing loved places like this for years. Exactly. Which is why I believe we can do something different, Mr. Fujimoto replied. But it requires passion, unwavering passion from all of you, and I need to know, are you willing to fight for this diner? Mia's heart pounded, the question reverberating through her. Could they? Did they have enough fire in them to stir the community into action? As the silence deepened, she stepped forward, feeling the eyes of her friends on her, urging her on. For us, this isn't just a diner. It's home. It's laughter, tears, and stories shared over coffee and pie, she declared, feeling the strength in her voice rise. What we want to protect is more than just bricks and mortar. We want to save who we are. Gradually, heads bobbed in agreement. And one by one, smiling faces began to echo her sentiments. Then let us do it. Mrs. Caldwell's voice rang out, her determination like a beacon. Let us save this diner. Cheers bubbled up, igniting a fire that surged through the room. Even Jesse's staunch demeanor cracked, and he smiled, the flicker of doubt fading as he became caught up in the group's energy. All right then, Mr. Fujimoto said, a rare smile breaking across his face. Let us start talking strategy. As they began to brainstorm again, a sense of camaraderie filled the diner, each heart beating with the rhythm of determination. But amidst the chatter, Mia couldn't shake one lingering question: what sacrifices might they have to make to truly fight for this place? Just then, the door swung open and a shadow fell over the table. Mia's heart froze as she recognized the looming figure of the corporation's lawyer, notorious for tearing apart small businesses. What are you all plotting? He sneered, a smirk creeping across his lips. Mia's stomach dropped. Was this the showdown they feared? Would they stand strong, or would this moment of hope get crushed in an instant? The air in the diner turned electric as the lawyer stepped inside, his presence like a storm cloud blocking the sun. Mia felt the optimism draining slightly, replaced with a mix of anger and fear. The attorney's eyes scanned the room, full of challenge. What are you all plotting? He said, his voice dripping with disdain. Murmurs rippled across the crowd, uncertainty creeping back in. Mia felt her heart race, but she refused to be intimidated. We're not plotting anything illegal, she called out, trying to maintain her composure. We're fighting for our diner. It's part of our community. Fighting? He chuckled, the sound mocking. You think you can save this place with a few signatures? You're wasting your time. A knot twisted in her stomach, but she took a deep breath. This diner means everything to us. We're not backing down. Mr. Fujimoto stepped forward, a commanding presence beside her. If you want to talk about the diner, then let us talk, he said, his tone calm but firm. We're not afraid of your threats. This community deserves respect, and we're willing to fight for it. The lawyer smirked, appearing unconvinced. Respect? You think your little committee can stop corporate interests? Let us be real. But the other patrons began to stir, their determination ignited by Mr. Fujimoto's courage. You don't know us. Someone shouted from the back. We're not just a few people, we're a family. Voices started to rise, blending together in a chorus of strength. This diner is our home. Mia felt her confidence swell as she looked around at the faces of her friends. She could see the flicker of hope returning. Together, they were powerful. The lawyer's sneer faltered momentarily as he assessed the room full of passionate individuals. This will only end in disappointment for you all, he warned. Your community will never win against the machine. Jesse stood up, anger flashing in his eyes. We will win. We won't let you take what we love. We've built this place on memories, on relationships, and you'll never break us apart. What's clear, Mr. Fujimoto added, is that we have more tenacity than you think. We're not just facing a corporate threat, we're confronting a future motivated by greed. His tone remained steady but persuasive, and Mia could feel the impact of his words rippling through the group. Murmurs of agreement made the air buzz with life, and the lawyer's facade cracked. Fine, he said with a shrug, good luck with your little campaign. Just remember you'll all regret wasting your time. As he turned to leave, Mia felt relief wash over her. We will fight. She shouted after him, her voice firm. The weight of determination surged through the room. Whatever their challenges, they had each other. In the coming days, the diner transformed into a hub of activity. They held meetings, spread the word, and reached out to neighbors. The energy surged as they gathered signatures. Locals shared their fond memories, pledging support, adding strength to their fight. Mia felt alive, fueled by the spirit of unity that now filled the diner. Fujimoto became more than just a benefactor, he was truly one of them, standing side by side, experiencing the community's heart and soul. Together, they planned events that brought people together. Laughter and excitement began to drown out the apprehension. Finally, they organized a large gathering in the park. Mia stood up with a megaphone in hand, her heart racing as she faced a crowd of familiar faces. "We're not just fighting for a diner. We're fighting for our identity, for our history, for the heart of our community. Let us show them what we can do together." Cheers erupted, an echo of their shared spirit. With Mr. Fujimoto beside her, they shared their vision for the diner, painting pictures of what it could be: a gathering place filled with laughter, warmth, and compassion. The community responded, eager to join in, feeling the weight of unity solidify their resolve. One by one, neighbors approached with words of encouragement and support. Each signature collected blended into a tapestry of determination. The diner stood not just as a building but as a symbol of strength, proof that together, they were unstoppable. As the days went by, the atmosphere began to shift. The local media picked up their story, shining a light on their struggle. Vacationing families who shared memories of the diner spread the word through social media. Before long, the corporate giants felt the pressure. Mia received a call one evening, an unexpected meeting with the developers. Excitement bubbled within her. This was their chance, but as she stood before the boardroom, filled with suits, anxiety swirled in her belly. One of the investors leaned in, his heartless gaze piercing through her resolve. "We've heard your community's concerns, but ultimately this is business." With a loud clap, he sent a shiver down her spine. But with Mr. Fujimoto at her side and the support of her community burning through her, Mia found strength. "This isn't just business. This is our lives. And we're willing to fight for it." Moments of tension hung in the air like thick fog. But she would not back down. After many agonizing negotiations, persistence paid off. The developers agreed to abandon their plans. The diner would remain a cherished part of the community. As the crowd erupted in cheers, joy radiated throughout the diner. Mia felt tears of joy escape her eyes. The warm embrace of community surrounded her, and she knew that this was only the beginning. In the embrace of liberation, Mia whispered softly to Mr. Fujimoto, "Thank you for believing in us." He smiled, eyes sparkling. "Thank you for believing in yourself and this community." And together, they celebrated not just the survival of the diner but the power that lay within unity. As the sun set over their small town, the diner glowed brightly, lighting hope in every heart gathered inside. As they shared laughter, stories, and dreams, Mia realized they had created something far greater than just a restaurant. They had formed an unbreakable bond that would stand the test of time. Mia stood at the heart of something beautiful, a community reborn, ready to face whatever came next. This is the moment when she knew they would never let their diner go. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now and feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.